My name is Walton Hayes, and until last week, I thought I was untouchable. Millionaires like me aren't supposed to lose. We build empires, we make the rules. People look at us the way climbers look at mountain peaks. But life doesn't ask before it knocks you flat. It was a Monday morning when everything fell apart. My assistant rushed into my glass office, pale as a ghost. "Sir, there's been a breach in the system. Your accounts, your assets, they're gone." I laughed at first. It had to be a mistake. I had a state-of-the-art cybersecurity team. I had insurance, I had backups for the backups of my backups. But then the screens in my office flashed one by one. System error. System error? System error? Millions of dollars? 15 years of work, entire companies tied to my name, wiped out. I felt the ground vanish under my feet. My chest tightened, my vision blurred, and for the first time in decades, I felt small. The board members panicked. Shareholders bombarded me with threats. The media waited outside like hungry wolves. By evening, my empire had turned into smoke. When I walked out of the building that night, I wasn't a king anymore. Just a broken man with a suit that suddenly felt too heavy to wear. I drove home in silence, no music, no calls, no breath left in my lungs. When I entered the lobby of my apartment building, even the doorman avoided eye contact. I couldn't blame him. I felt like a failure. As I passed the maintenance room, I saw a dim light inside. A janitor stood working, mopping the floor quietly. He looked up, surprised to see me. "Evening, Mr. Hayes," I nodded weakly, but then I noticed someone sitting on a small wooden chair beside him, a tiny girl, maybe 7 years old. Blonde hair, bright eyes, feet swinging above the ground. She stared at me with curious innocence. The janitor spoke gently. "This is my daughter, Kathrine. Her school closed early today." Kathrine tilted her head. "Are you sad?" she asked softly. I tried to smile, but my lips barely moved. She looked at the laptop in my hand, the last device I had that wasn't T-hacked. "Can I take a look?" she said. I blinked. "A look at this?" "Sweetheart, this is very complicated. Even professional engineers can't fix it." But she simply said again, "Just one look." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But something in her voice, something calm, something fearless, made me hand her the laptop, and that was the second the world shifted. The second when a janitor's little girl unknowingly held the remains of a millionaire's destroyed life in her tiny hands, and changed everything. Kathrine placed the laptop on her knees, her tiny fingers moving with a confidence that didn't match her age. She wasn't nervous, she wasn't confused, she looked curious, like the whole world was a puzzle she enjoyed solving. Her father, the janitor, froze. "Sweetheart, don't touch anything important," but I gently raised my hand. "It's all right, let her see." Because honestly, what did I have left to lose? Kathrine pressed a few keys, her brows knitting together. Her feet dangled above the floor, rocking back and forth, but her eyes were sharp. "Why is your firewall crying?" she asked. I blinked. "Crying?" She pointed at the screen. "These red parts. They look like when my tablet gets scared." Her analogy was childish, but the meaning behind it wasn't. She clicked something. A hidden process popped up. One my IT team had missed. One that cost me everything. A quiet gasp escaped my throat. "How did you?" She didn't answer. Her fingers kept dancing across the keyboard, not randomly, not by chance, with purpose. Her father looked mortified. "Kathy, stop. You'll break the expensive machine." But I was leaning closer now, heartbeat pounding. "No, let her continue." Kathrine clicked another hidden folder. This time, a series of encrypted codes flashed open. My jaw dropped. This wasn't normal hacking. This was precision sabotage. "Kathrine, where did you learn this?" I whispered. She shrugged casually. "I like fixing things. Papa's phone broke once, and I found the tiny monsters inside." I stared at the janitor. He raised his hands. "Sir, I swear on my life, I have no idea how she knows these things. Her teacher says she finishes computer work faster than the whole class combined." I swallowed hard. Kathrine turned the laptop toward me and said the most unbelievable words. "Your money I send Khan. Someone hid it. But I can show you where." My breath caught. All day, experts told me recovery was impossible. All day, the world declared my downfall final. But a 7-year-old girl, a janitor's daughter, saw what none of them saw. She tapped her finger on the screen as if telling a bedtime story. Look, they hid everything behind this fake wall. See this? It's pretending to be broken. My heart thundered. This wasn't luck. This wasn't randomness. This child was a prodigy. Kathrine, I said slowly, can you help me get it back? She smiled, a small, innocent, fearless smile. I can try. Those 3 words were more hope than I'd had all day. At that moment, standing in a dim janitor's room with a mop bucket beside us, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Faith. Little did I know, this girl wasn't just about to save my system. She was about to save my life. Kathrine pulled a small plastic stool toward the janitor's workbench and set the laptop on top. Her yellow dress brushed the floor as she adjusted herself, legs dangling, eyes focused. I had seen world-class engineers work under pressure, but none of them had the quiet fearlessness this little girl had. Her father kept pacing nervously. Sir, if anything happens, I can't afford to. It's all right, I assured him, though my own heart was racing. This is more than anyone has managed all day. Kathrine tapped another series of keys. The screen flickered, then split into multiple code windows, like hidden doors opening in a burning mansion. She pointed again. See this one? It's pretending to be part of your company. But it's a bad guy. My stomach tightened because now I recognized the signature in the code, a pattern, a mark, a fingerprint, someone I once trusted. Kathrine. Do you know what this means? I whispered. She shook her head. It means someone close to me did this. Her tiny fingers paused. She looked up at me with those pure, honest eyes. Why would they hurt you? I swallowed hard. Because I knew exactly who it was, but I wasn't ready to say his name yet. Jonathan Pike, my partner of 12 years. The man who joked with me at lunches, toasted at my wedding, and promised he'd never betray me. Yet his signature was right here. Buried in the code, Kathrine gently pulled my sleeve. Don't be sad yet. I'm still looking. She pressed another key, and suddenly a path opened. A digital trail, a breadcrumb trail left behind like a shadow. My breath hitched. Kathrine clapped softly, excited like she had found a hidden treasure in a game. Found it! My heart stopped. Found what? Your money. She pointed at the screen confidently. All of it, every part. The janitor almost dropped the mop. You found millions? Sweetheart, what, how? She giggled. It's not hiding anymore, see? She clicked, and a map of the financial transfers appeared, hundreds of lines leading to a private offshore server, a server Jonathan owned. I felt sick. Kathrine looked at me again. Do you want me to bring it back? A child, a 7-year-old child, was asking me if I wanted my entire empire restored. But I couldn't breathe, not because of the money, because of the truth. Why did he do this to you? She asked softly. I sat down slowly, heavily, because when people want power, even your friends can turn into thieves. Kathrine nodded, as if she understood more than any 7-year-old should. Then she whispered, Don't worry, Walton. I won't let him win. And without waiting for another word, she turned back to the screen, as if protecting me was the most natural thing in the world. Didn't he know whether I was about to witness a miracle or the final fail attempt at saving everything I had built? But one thing was certain, Kathrine was no ordinary girl. She was the storm my enemy never expected. Kathrine's fingers flew over the keyboard with a speed that didn't belong to a child. Her small frame was glowing in the dim maintenance room light, as if she had stepped out of another world entirely. Lines of complex code scrolled across the screen, the kind even my best engineers used to sweat over. But she treated it like a coloring book. Her father stood frozen behind her. I could see fear, pride, and confusion all wrestling in his expression. Sir, I swear, she never learned this from me. She just knows things. I didn't respond. My eyes were glued to the screen. Kathrine spoke without looking up. Walton, this part here. This is where he tried to lock you out forever. My jaw clenched. Jonathan, my oldest business partner. My most trusted friend. And now the man who had tried to erase me. Kathrine pressed a key, and the screen lit up in a bright stream of green symbols, access codes unraveling like threads cut loose. "Someone really wanted to hurt you," she said quietly. "But hurt people don't get to win in my stories." Her words, they hit me harder than the betrayal. "You write stories?" I whispered. She nodded shyly. "I write endings that feel right." Her father sighed. "Kathy, sweetie, grown-ups have complicated problems." She shook her head. "No, Papa, grown-ups make problems complicated. Fixing them is simple." I almost laughed, or cried, I wasn't sure which. Then suddenly, beep, 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 a full-access recovery window appeared. My breath stopped. This was impossible. This was legally, technically, mathematically impossible. Kathrine raised one hand dramatically and pressed the enter key. A soft chime played. Access restored. Primary funds located. Transfer reversible. I covered my mouth with my hand, disbelief shaking through me. "Kathrine, what did you just do?" She smiled, proud but calm. "I brought your money back home." My legs gave out, and I sat on the nearest chair. Everything I had lost. Everything the world assumed was gone forever. Returned by a little girl sitting on a broken wooden stool. Kathrine turned toward me, her voice soft. "Can I tell you something?" I nodded, barely breathing. "When someone steals from you, it means you had something worth stealing." She lifted her shoulders lightly. "But now you have something better." I frowned through tear-blurred eyes. "And what's that?" She pointed at her own chest. "Someone who helped you. Not because of money, but because you needed help." Her father looked away, wiping his eyes with his sleeve. Kathrine hopped down from the stool and handed me the laptop. "Your world is not broken anymore." I swallowed the huge lump in my throat. "Kathrine," I whispered, voice shaking, "you didn't just save my company. You saved me." She smiled brightly, the kind of smile that turns chaos into light. "Good," she said simply. "Then my story is working." And in that tiny, dim, forgotten maintenance room, I realized something. This girl wasn't just the reason I had hope again. She was the reason I still believed in miracles. Kathrine had restored my system, but she hadn't restored my trust. That evening, after thanking her father and promising I'd check on them again, I walked out of the maintenance room with my laptop hugged to my chest. The building felt different now. Not because my wealth was back, but because a child had shown me what real loyalty looked like. As I reached the elevator, a voice echoed behind me. "Walton?" I froze. Jonathan. He stepped out of the shadows as the elevator doors slid shut behind him. Perfect timing, calculated, like everything he did. He looked calm, too calm. "I heard everything collapsed today," he said, pretending concern. "I tried calling. I was worried." I stared at him. A man who once toasted with me in penthouse parties, who carried my son at his christening, who swore we'd build an empire together. Now I could see it clearly, the confidence. The untouched suit, the relaxed posture, a man who knew he'd already won. "You should have been there," I said quietly. "My system was hacked?" "Oh?" He raised an eyebrow. "What a disaster. Any idea who did it?" I nodded slowly. "Only one person had the keys." His eyes flickered, just for a fraction. "But enough. And who's that?" he asked. I stepped closer. "You." Silence fell like a blade. Jonathan laughed softly, the kind of laugh that didn't mean humor, only arrogance. "Walton, you're under pressure. You're imagining things." I opened the laptop and turned it toward him. The recovered data, the trail, the evidence signed with the digital fingerprint he always used. His face drained of color. "You shouldn't have seen that," he whispered. "I didn't," I replied coldly. "A 7-year-old girl did." He blinked in disbelief. "A child? Are you serious?" I nodded. And for the first time since the collapse, I felt powerful again. Jonathan stepped back, his voice lowering. "Walton, listen. You were becoming too big, too powerful, too controlling. I deserved my share, and you wouldn't give it." My anger simmered, but my voice stayed calm. "So you decided to erase me?" He shrugged. It was easier. I exhaled, steady and slow. "You made one mistake," he frowned. "You underestimated the wrong person." "Who?" he scoffed. "You're Janitor's kid?" My jaw tightened. That little girl did in 20 minutes what your entire sabotage team couldn't hide. His eyes widened. I continued, and everything you stole is already restored. Jonathan lunged forward. What? No, that's impossible. I stepped back firmly, raising a hand. It's over. He breathed heavily, rage shaking through him. You'll regret this, Walton. I shook my head. No, Jonathan. You already did. Security guards appeared from the elevator behind him, the ones I had called the moment Kathrine recovered the access. Jonathan turned, panicked. You're arresting me? Walton, wait, Walton! His voice cracked into desperate shouting as the guards pulled him back. For the first time I felt nothing for him. No anger, no hatred, just closure. As the elevator shut and his shouting faded, I whispered to myself, She saved me. Not the money. Not the system. Kathrine saved my life from a man who pretended to be my brother. And I knew this little girl's story with me was far from over. Jonathan was taken away. The empire I'd built was safe again. But instead of returning to my penthouse that night, I found myself walking back toward the maintenance room downstairs, drawn by a feeling I couldn't name yet. When I pushed the door open, I found Kathrine sitting on the floor, legs crossed, coloring in a small notebook. Her father was cleaning up, silently humming to himself. She looked up and smiled the moment she saw me. You're back, she said, as if she had been expecting me. I kneeled down to her height. Yes, because there's someone very important I needed to thank again. She blinked innocently. Did the bad guy stop stealing? He's gone, I nodded, because of you. She tilted her head. But I didn't do anything big. I laughed softly. Kathrine, you did something no one else in my entire empire could do. She lowered her eyes shyly, twisting her fingers together. Her father stepped forward. Sir, she didn't mean to overstep. I hope she didn't trouble you. Trouble me? I cut him off gently. She saved my entire life. Kathrine looked up again, curious. Are you happy now? I nodded, for the first time in a long time. She smiled, a small, genuine smile that felt like sunlight in a dark room. Then she asked something simple, yet it cracked something inside me. Do you have anyone to celebrate with? I froze. I didn't, not really. Money had always been my world, and when money leaves, so does everyone else. Kathrine reached out and held my sleeve. We can celebrate with you, she said softly. Her father looked startled. Kathy, but I shook my head. No, if you don't mind, I would like that. Her father's eyes softened, the exhausted eyes of a man who never expected someone like me to speak with such sincerity. Kathrine hopped to her feet. Can I ask you something? Her tone was serious now. Yes, anything. Are you going to forget us now that you're rich again? The question hit me like a punch to the chest. I placed a hand gently on her shoulder. Kathrine, today wasn't just about money. You showed me kindness when no one else did. You believed in me when even I didn't. Her eyes widened slightly. You fixed what was broken in my life, I continued. Not with computers, but with your heart. She looked at her father, then back at me. Does that mean we're friends? A lump formed in my throat. Yes, I whispered. We are. She beamed. Then she did something unexpected. She wrapped her small arms around me. It was a pure, honest hug. The kind I hadn't felt since my own daughter was her age. Her father quickly wiped his eyes, pretending dust had flown in. I gently pulled back. Kathrine, I said, I want to do something for you, something big. She gasped playfully. Like ice cream? I laughed. Bigger. 2 ice creams? Her father chuckled. She thinks the world starts and ends with ice cream. I shook my head, smiling. No, I'm talking about a future. She blinked. My future? I want to sponsor your education, I said. Every year, every class, everything you ever need. You saved my world. I want to help build yours. Her father swallowed hard. Sir, we can't accept. I raised a hand gently. You're not accepting charity. You're accepting a thank you from a man who owes your daughter his life. Kathrine looked up at her father, whispering, We can go to a good school, Papa. Tears filled the man's eyes. He nodded slowly. Thank you, sir. I never thought. You don't have to, I said. Kathrine tugged at my sleeve again. What happens now? I smiled warmly. Now we celebrate. How? she asked. I extended my hand toward her. By getting ice cream. 2 scoops. She gasped dramatically. Papa, 2 scoops! And for the first time in a long, long time, I laughed like a man who had finally found peace. As we walked out of that small maintenance room together, the janitor, his daughter, and a once broken millionaire, I realized something. Kathrine didn't just restore my stolen money. She restored the part of me I thought I lost forever, my humanity. And that was worth more than every dollar ever stolen.